everyone. If you haven't seen me before yet on any of our Facebook Live videos, I'm Sam. I am in the marketing department here at NATP, and today I am joined by a few of our wonderful instructors who will be teaching NATP's business tax update workshops this summer. And they are all on site to review curriculum and go through updates this year to the things that they will be teaching. So if you don't mind, all of you, why don't you take a minute to introduce yourselves, tell us a little bit about yourself, and how long you have been practicing. Whoever wants to start.
I'll go first. My name's Chuck Stevens. I'm from Franklin, Georgia. That's the gateway to the South. I'm a certified public accountant. I've been in business now for about 35 years. Started when I was 2, so I'm kind of young, but anyway, that's me. And I've been an instructor for NATP now for going on 15 years, I guess.
2.
2. Too long?
No,
Too long.
Too long, I know.
My name is Melinda Garvin. I'm from Ohio, and I'm an enrolled agent. I have been instructing for NATP for about 11 years. I've been preparing taxes and had a tax office for about 35 years. I recently just sold my tax office, and I'm doing very well with selling it. I'm enjoying my semi-retirement.
Ditto. I did the same thing a couple of years ago, but I'm still doing some practice. And why do we call it practice? Aren't we good by now? We still need practice. Okay, I'm Randy Lachey, and I'm from South Louisiana, close to New Orleans. I've been doing tax returns for a long time, and I've been teaching within ATP for 22 years now. So been around the track for a little while. Love what I do, love NATP, and I know it sounds like I'm a nerd, but I love taxes and I love tax theory and getting into the nitty-gritty of what we do. So, ba-dum-bum.
My name is Steve O'Rourke. I've been with NATP for a long, long time. I'm one of the local guys here. I live in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, which is just 20 miles from NATP headquarters. I've been on staff with NATP in the past, but currently serving as an instructor. I've been in the tax and accounting business for a long time, almost 40 years, and we all enjoy taxes big time.
Well, thank you so much all for being here today. I know some of you have traveled, and we really appreciate you being on site at our headquarters in Appleton. So since I have more than one guest with me today, which is unusual for these videos, but we're excited, we're going to do this as a panel interview. So if you have something to say, feel free to chime in, speak up, whatever you see fit. The first question I have for you all, though, is can you give me a brief overview of what a first-time attendee of the Business Tax Update workshops could expect? So what could first-timers expect to learn or do at one of these workshops?
They're going to first walk in and they're going to be very intimidated because if they've never been to one before, they don't know a lot of the people. But as the day progresses, especially on the 2-day, when we're going from one course to the next, they start mingling and making friends and networking, which is one of the phenomenal things about NATP, is that you're not just learning stuff from the instructors, you're learning it from each other. So that's, to me, that's one of the best takeaways when they first get there and go through that. But that's not to speak of the wonderful education they're going to get.
I find that the attendees, the first thing they want to do is get their hands on the book.
Yeah.
The first thing, when they get in their room, they want the book. They want to get in there and they want to see what the book has, see the examples, and I think they're going to love the book this year. Each day has a book of its own, so if you attend both days, and we encourage all attendees to attend both days. Don't look at the objectives and say, well, maybe I just want to attend this day and not the other day. We encourage everybody to sign up for both days.
This is a course that is kind of starts at the beginning and goes to the more complex. So it's this is what you're familiar with, this is the base that we start with, and then build upon that. I think that's important for anybody new to this kind of curriculum who doesn't really know what to expect with NATP seminars, and I totally agree with the concept that people gain a lot more because we have the Q&A where a lot of organizations, you are not allowed to ask questions, or you put them in writing, and maybe the instructors will address them by the end of the day. NATP addresses them as we go along, and it's difficult on the speakers sometimes to keep everybody, engaged, and don't let distractions occur. But it's a very positive to the members, to the attendees.
And this year's is especially important with the new Tax Cuts and Job Act that's coming out. There is so much new information, so many new items, things that just weren't there in the past that we're going to have to address and move into. And I think it's going to be a great year. It's going to be a great, great class.
So going a little bit off script here then, would you recommend, someone maybe who is just starting in the profession to attend one of these workshops, or is this geared more towards a professional who has been, around the block a few times, who's done a few returns already?
I'll answer that. I'll start with that. I think it's important for somebody new to the business to come and understand the concepts. They will not be totally understand everything over the 2-day course, but I think it gives them a perspective so that they can help their employer or coworkers or whatever get a better feel, because the clerical support people are very, very important to the business, and they can at least address some of the questions that their client base comes up with.
It's going to affect all returns. So even if you're a first-year preparer, they're going to have to address the issues that this course has on all tax returns. So they're going to have to face these issues. And so I think that, yes, it's going to affect all levels of all preparers. So
it may seem to be a little intimidating when you read the objectives and what we're going to be going through. But hey, jump in with both feet. You may walk out and feel like you've gotten a little more information than your level of understanding is right now, but we all have. And every class I go to, I learn something new. And that's the main thing, is just keep building on your education.
One thing I want to say too is there is nothing like live education. Nothing can represent or replace this live education. Getting to be in a live setting and ask the questions right then and there is invaluable. Okay. And if you don't ask the question, somebody else in that room is going to ask the question that you're going to think, oh, I wish that's right, I want to know that too. And
I think in general, young people go with the assumption that interaction with others isn't necessary, and I'm just going to have my headphones on and I'm going to look at my computer and that's how I'm going to learn. But that trend is changing, that they're beginning to understand that there's more to life than what the computer tells you. And so I see that as a positive trend, that more young people say, yeah, I do want to get input from others.
And this subject, QBI, cannot be handled by software alone.
That's right.
So if the tax professional is going to go into this saying, I don't really need to learn this topic, my software is going to handle it, you have some awakening.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit more. The QBI is a hot term this year, as I'm sure you all are familiar with already. Can you give me a brief description of what it is, if that's even possible?
Brief is not in the same plane with QBI. There's nothing brief.
First off, we need to mention what QBI is. It means qualified business income. And I know everybody's heard about the 20% thing with pass-through entities, but that's most of what everybody's heard of. Well, QBI, and you're going to hear that for the rest of the year and into next tax season. It's qualified business income that is basically what's eligible for this new credit for pass-through entities. We've been doing this for a day and a half now, and we're still coming up with questions and multiple answers. And I think the way that our books are being developed and what we're going through, I think it's going to help you build a foundation and at least know what questions to ask and what to look for when more guidance comes out in this topic. Steve, you're a little bit better with this than the rest of us. If you want to add to it?
We have tried to define for 2 days now what QBI is, and we have CQBI and QBIA and EIEIEIO, and there's just so many complications to all this. So Randy said it well, you start out with a business, whether it's a Schedule C, a Schedule F, whether it's you're a partner in a partnership or a shareholder in a corporation, and there's profit that's passed through to you, you get a potential 20% deduction. And so by coming to this course, you're going to get a much better understanding of what the whole concept of trade or business means, what the whole concept of bottom line profit means, what that potential deduction means, and some of the limitations and so forth. So it's a great course, and it's kind of the beginning to next year tax season, but extremely important for you to explain to your clients the significance of their trade or business and how it's going to impact their tax return.
And as Steve said, it's not, or Randy said, it's not just your S corporations and partnerships. This applies to your Schedule Cs and your Schedule Fs. And that's going to apply to a lot more people than really looked at this initially. They say, oh, it's a pass-through entity, which is your S corps partnerships. But that's not all. It's the Schedule Cs, the Schedule Fs, and that's where you're going to get into. And don't worry that we've overwhelmed you with that, because we're going to start off at the very beginning and work our way into this. So it's a step-by-step process that we're going to put together for you to help you understand this and be able to take it back and use it with your clients.
Which I would also assume is why you recommend attending both days, because they build on each other, and things that you would learn on one day is going to be tied into it the other day.
We plant the seeds the first day, and then the second day it blossoms.
I get the water.
Yeah.
We start out with baby steps, and that's why we have to learn it.
Is there anything else new or notable this year that attendees should know about?
Absolutely. I mean, this new tax bill is just overwhelming. From the individual 1040, page 1 and page 2, to business entities, it's just overwhelming. So
It's loaded.
all we can say is as much education as you can possibly get this year, this is the year for it.
And NATP is on top of it, providing everything you need, from webinars and to live, everything that you need. NATP is there for you.
Where are you going to be teaching the workshop?
This workshop, I'm going to be in Columbus, Ohio, in Indianapolis, and Cromwell, Connecticut. Those are the 3 locations. And then I'm also going to be in October presenting a live webinar from here at the home office that you can attend live from your own home. Where are you going to be?
Yeah.
I'm going to be in Rochester, New York, and Hauppauge, New York, and then Phoenix, to be determined, Phoenix, Arizona. I'm not sure the location exactly yet, and then Santa Ana, California. So,
What about you, Steve?
I'm going to be in Florida and Georgia to start out, and then I'm going to be in Pennsylvania, Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and Cherry Hill, New Jersey, by the Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, New Jersey border.
And I'm going to Kansas City or Overland Park.
Overland Park.
And Houston, and then I'm doing a live webinar here in September.
So we talked about this a little bit before about why live education is important. But is there anything else you guys want to add on to that? As far as, and even it can be as general as we can talk about education in general, why it's important to stay updated as a tax professional. Obviously this is a very industry with a lot of changes.
I'll start out with that. Not only is it important that you come to the seminar, but it's important that you belong to NATP. Because first of all, when you get the materials, there's worksheets, there's extras that we provide with the material, and that you are entitled to get as a member of NATP, which, if you don't come to the program, you don't get that information and interaction with other peers as to how it works. But being a member of NATP also has its perks, including a lot of the information that non-members are not entitled to.
And those books and worksheets and everything, they can take those with them afterwards to reference, correct?
We will even autograph them for them.
Have you been doing that?
For free.
I
That
didn't
is
get
a
his
deal.
autograph, did you?
Not yet.
Oh.
Well, another thing, this workshop that we're working on is, of course, more geared towards business. But in the fall, we start our 1040 series, which to me has always been the foundation of NATP. That was one of the first things that I was introduced to with NATP, and that's where you're going to get the meat of the information for everything else that's going on. Of course, not to speak of our national conference in Anaheim. We're going to see the mouse.
So many times I come across people that prepare taxes that they don't believe in education. Actually, what they do is they think that their software that they pay, and I agree, we pay astronomical amounts for our software, but they think that their software is just going to have all the updates and they can just simply plug in the numbers and it's going to be okay.
Right.
They honestly believe that. And they're finding out that they're going to get their clients are getting these CPE notices because it isn't keeping up. You've got to get the education.
There's a reason they call it garbage in, garbage out.
That's right. Another thing with NATP that I like is during the tax season, one of these very important perks is the fact that if I get stuck on an out-of-state return, I can call one of my members that I've either networked with or I can go on NATP's website, and if I need help with that out-of-state return,
Yeah.
I can
And
find a
I
member
do
that will
that
help me
fairly often.
several times during the tax season.
Yeah.
There's so many, their website, the worksheets, the flow charts and the stuff that they have that you can only access if you're a member. There's just a lot of perks.
One of the most important perks, though, is being able to call into research. If
Ooh,
I'm
yeah.
sitting there during tax season and I'm already working 6 days a week, 12 hours a day, and then something new pops up, I don't have time to spend 3 or 4 hours researching it.
No.
So I call NATP Research, give them the situation, they'll give me the answer. They'll also fax or email me back all the relevant documents that back up what they've told me.
Because your client won't believe you.
That's right. And then I turn right around and give my client all that information, show them the answer, and I bill them for it too.
Yep. Pass on
See,
the charge.
Your expertise.
They pay us a lot of money not to listen to us, don't they?
Yes, they do.
Our clients.
So why don't you tell me and everyone watching with us, what do you like most? What do each of you like most about teaching this workshop specifically, the Business Tax Update Workshop?
I learned so much.
Oh, I do.
I just, in the past 2 days, and of course preparing for this and having to do the research and all, it just amazes me how much I don't know. And having to learn it and put the finishing touches on the textbooks and things like that, I've just learned so much and grown as a preparer because of it.
Well, we were sitting here collaborating on this. I said, this stuff is cool. I must be a sick person because this is cool. And we have learned so much. We need this so bad to learn it. So that's why when we teach it,
So we can share.
we learn it.
I'm always a nervous Nelly the night before the seminar. I'm going through my material. How am I going to present this? I don't understand it. How can I convey that and whatever? And you get it. And then when you hear the attendees say, "Thank you, I understand now," or the light bulb went on, that's a great feeling.
Yeah. I always get sick to my stomach before I go out to present.
Yeah.
It
You
makes
don't-
us
that
better
never goes
speakers.
away, huh?
No, never.
No.
Never.
And being an instructor makes you a better preparer also.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Because
absolutely.
when you got to stand up in front of a room and answer questions that they're coming up with, and it may not even be on subject, but it's something that they just came up with, you've got to pretty much know your material, know your stuff.
I always learn something every time I present.
Absolutely,
Always learn something.
absolutely.
Attendees always come loaded too.
You know, when I first started with teaching with NATP, and Steve remembers way back then, I was scared to death that someone was going to ask me a question that I didn't know the answer to. And it was, I don't remember where I was, but I can almost remember realizing at one point when somebody asked me a question in one session that I wasn't afraid to say, I don't know.
I don't know.
Because, have you seen the tax code lately? You can't know it all.
Enormous.
Okay.
But I always say, you know, I may not know the answer, but I've got a top-notch team behind me and I can let you know at the break.
That's why we belong to NATP,
Yeah.
because we don't know.
But that was kind of my bright and shining light bulb moment, was when I finally could say, I don't know,
That's right.
and not be intimidated by it.
Love it. What else should we know? Anything else anyone wants to add as far as the business tax update workshops, about yourself, about NATP, about education, anything else?
Oh, I think this workshop is a must-attend workshop. If you want to know anything about this new QBI update, this new TCJA Act, you should attend this.
Well, and this, and then we've got forums this year. We're adding an extra forum. We always go to Las Vegas and Atlantic City. This year we're adding Indianapolis to that. Then we've got conference coming up, and then we've got the 1040 series all over the country. So take advantage of it because of the numerous changes this year.
And at National Conference this year, we've added some Spanish-speaking classes, which is new for us. And that's awesome this year. So,
Very often we see attendees coming in with a little bit of an attitude. Oh, I got to be here. I got to get my credits, you know. And there is some of that, but everybody needs to go to class this year, just because the new tax bill has just so many ramifications. And Melinda said it well. It affects every tax return.
yeah, everything.
Yeah.
Individuals, nonprofits, businesses, estates, trusts, there's nothing that the TCJA has not touched.
Right.
You're right.
There's nothing.
Oh, and did I mention we're going to see the mouse?
Someone's excited about Mickey.
Bring your kids and grandkids and come see the mouse and learn and meet us. Look for us. I'd love for you to come up and say, I saw you on Facebook.
Yes, yeah, and we are going to be there at Anaheim, so come and see us. And you know what? If you go to, if you've never been to a national conference, you need to go, because there are so many side-by-side tracks that you can choose and tailor your education to what fits your practice.
Yeah.
You don't have to just be locked into any subject. You pick. Go on the website. Go on NATP's website and look at the education choices that you have. They're awesome. This year.
There's also entertainment. That's another big aspect
Oh, you
of the
didn't
conference.
need to give me a plug.
Because, you know, it is about learning. It is about increasing your professionalism and benefiting yourself and your tax clients or whatever. But yes, Randy's
some
got
fun.
something to say about the entertainment as well.
Yeah, have some
Eye
fun.
candy and entertainment right here
Yes.
with us.
Yeah,
So.
eye candy, dancing.
Yeah. Melinda, at last year's conference, Melinda and I taught a session about new tax law, and there wasn't any new tax law, so we did the Donnie and Marie presentation.
That's right,
So
yeah.
anyway.
He sang, I danced.
We do everything we can to convince people that tax people are not boring.
That's right.
Anything else you guys want to add?
Yeah,
Otherwise-
you were supposed to talk during this.
Oh
Yeah,
gosh, yeah,
we
live.
just kinda-
That's okay.
we just kinda took
It's
it
all
over.
about you today, so that's all that matters. Well, thanks so much, all
Thank
of you,
you.
for being here. We
Thanks,
really
thank you. This was
appreciate
fun.
it.
It was fun.
And thanks for everyone for tuning in. It's good to see you all again. Have a great weekend, and we're excited that you guys are here for the remainder of the day, and hope that the rest of the curriculum review goes well.
Yes, and I gotta get cheese.
Yes, in Wisconsin. All right, bye everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.